Stay tuned and you'll find out on the Valvoline Elko Race Report.
In the sport of auto racing, a variety of factors can affect the way a race performance is going to go. It could be the weather, it could be the way a car is set up, it could be track conditions. Hello again, everyone. I'm Wally Shaver, and along with Ted Ostad, it looked like track conditions might have been the factor last Saturday night, Ted, because unlike the week before, it seemed like the outside groove was really working well for these guys, and it created some absolutely fabulous racing.
Yeah, you'll see, Wally, a lot of times the tires will get greasy as they heat up. It seemed like as the tires heated up this week, they actually stuck. And it provided for some great racing. We had 2, 4, 6, even 8 cars that were battling and coming across the line only a second apart. A lot of great highlights. We had 4 fabulous races on Saturday night, and we'll have all the highlights in racing from those races.
Great balls of fire.
7 weeks remain in the 1994 racing season, and the stretch drive started for the late model drivers last Saturday night. Bloomington Scott Hagen sat on the pole opposite the number 11 Hooters car of Jason Schneider, currently 11th in season points. Schneider inched to the lead early in the race and was followed into the outer groove by the red KYMN Chevrolet of Les Ferris. As Schneider and Ferris began pulling away from the high-powered field, Ferris looked for his spot. In turns 1 and 2, he ducked down low and used the slingshot effect to pull ahead of Schneider in the back straightaway.
Back a few notches, a 4-pack of cars began their assault to the front. The number 8 Merrick's towing car of Brian Mundall, number 3 Phillips 66 ride of Steve Mergic worked to the outside, trying to reel in the number 16 black first chiropractic car of Scott LaFavre. Caution flew on lap 10 as Jim Kulseth pulled to the infield with steam filtering up from under the hood as he blew a radiator hose. The realignment allowed LaFavre's car to pull up alongside Ferris's fire engine red number 14. Schneider's number 11 ride settled into row 2 on the inside, with number 8 Mundall on the outside of him. 4 laps later, the 00 car after-hours machine of Lauren Petrash spun out, bringing out the second caution of the night. Since he caused the yellow, Petrash had to move to the back for the restart. Petrash's disastrous night continued as he hooked up with the white Express Lube number 19 car of Rick Austin in turn 1. Petrash had to retire to the pit.
Ferris jumped to the lead from the 3rd restart of this race, which had just reached the halfway point. But Ferris was developing problems. He lost power on the back straight and was tapped by Schneider's number 11 car. LaFavre used the power outage to pull alongside Ferris. With 8 laps left, it was anyone's race. Ferris still held the point, but LaFavre, number 7 Jeff Martin, Schneider, and Mundall in number 8, and Brian Johnson in the black number 18 Chev were all in the hunt. Martin and Johnson surged forward. With less than 5 laps remaining, the two had moved up to the leaders. Martin shot down low and took over 3rd spot. Johnson then started working on Schneider's Hooters car.
As Ferris entered the front straight with the lead and only 2 laps remaining, he experienced another power loss. Teammates LaFavre and Johnson rocketed past to nail down the top 2 spots, but not for long as there was a 5-car pileup in turn 3 that brought out yet another caution. Mike Tuma, Brad Miller, last week's feature winner Barry Tanner, Scott Hagen in car number 31, and Mark Nestheim in car number 79 were all involved in the fracas. One thing to explain here, folks, when there is a crash, we have to explain that you go back to the last completed lap. At the start-finish line, Brian Johnson was not in front of Les Ferris. Therefore, Scott LaFavre held the point. Les Ferris was in 2nd and Johnson in 3rd. Look how they're lined up here. LaFavre is in the number 1 spot down on the inside. Ferris is on the outside of him. Johnson and Martin are in row 2, and Schneider and Mergic are in row 3.
LaFavre shot to the front from his pole position, but Johnson and Ferris traded paint on the front straight. Ferris lost power, and Martin's blue Ford banged into him. Martin broke a tie rod exiting turn 2, bounced off the wall, and collected a number 3 Pontiac of Murgic. Murgic's car came to rest just against the wall at the entrance to turn number 3, drawing the 5th yellow flag of the race. Now, it was a one-lap sprint race. The first Cairo team were lined up side by side at the front. No way was team owner Scott LaFavre going to let the younger Brian Johnson beat him, and he didn't. A triumphant 1-2 finish for the pair of jet black Chevys. Let's now go to the tech area and talk to the jubilant crew.
A very exciting race tonight in the Valvoline NASCAR late model division. Great side-by-side racing. And Scott, you were in the front, and you went back a few spots, and you went to the front. Where did you think this was going to end?
Well, I wasn't sure. The car felt really good, and I was determined to try to go up front. I was a little hesitant to, on the restarts, to go to the outside, but I figured I had nothing to lose. If you can't pass them on the outside, you won't end up front. So I wanted to give it a shot, and the car worked really well.
The early going, it seemed like the tires were getting a little bit greasy on the outside. Was it because they were heating up, or were they too cool?
They were probably just heating up, and I was driving it too hard. But things turned out real well.
Well, we've got the first chiropractic race team here, first and second. And Brian Johnson, what was it like for you to be side by side there in that final restart with your partner right alongside?
Well, it's kind of fun having two cars painted up the same and, being teammates and finishing first and second. There's not too many cars out here that are teammates, and it's kind of different.
Well, some great competition there in that final 3/8 of a mile, as you only finished a couple feet behind him.
Yeah, I gave her all I had. His car's running good, and they're both running about the same, I guess, and it was fun.
Friendly rivalry here between you and Scott?
Oh, yeah. As long as we don't trade too much paint, we're okay.
What do you say to that, Scott?
Absolutely. I couldn't, it couldn't feel better to win with Brian right next to me, and I would have been just as excited to have followed him across the finish line also. This is what it's all about for us, I guess.
A great race and a couple true champions here in the first chiropractic Luminous.
The Sportsman race.
Oh, I'd have to put my money on Dan Ryan tonight, the Monte Carlo.
Dick Moeller! Dan Ryan, he's the fastest. Paul Paine, he's the best.
All their picks are in. The windows are now closed. The cars are in the gate. Now let's see how this unfolds. When the Gens Ryan Sportsman division entered the track, only 3 points separated Dick Moeller from first place Steve Anderson. Moeller held a third-row starting spot, while Anderson was back in row number 6. As the field of 19 cars crossed the start-finish line, number 50 Kurt Barfnick and number 32 Jeff Partington were door-to-door at the front. It took several laps, but finally Barfnick could call the lead his own, something he enjoyed until the late stages of last week's feature race when his engine blew. Partington's Cadillac was running very well in the second-place spot.
Number 25, Darren Cleggstead, lost some ground from his third-place spot early in the race when he went sliding through the infield. This was shaping up to be an absolutely outstanding race. Barfnick's lead was extremely slim over Partington, as 8 cars were speeding side by side for almost half the race. Paul Paine in 27, Moeller in 29, Dick Partington in 84, Kent Eastwick and Bill Wilbur were thrilling the thousands of race fans. The race's first caution period came out on lap 9 when Don Bryett, number 96, D&S cement car, made a loud bang coming off the back chute and forced him into the infield.
Big move on the restart as a lot happened. Partington's caddy moved to the outside of Barfnick to take the lead. In the process, Jeff spun himself out in turn 2. Holy smokes, an alert Paul Paine moved to the outside from his third-place spot, taking possession of the race lead. Apple Valley's Dick Moeller mounted a strong charge. By lap 13, the 29 car also used the outside lane and bolted past Barfnick for second place. Moeller then set his sights on the frost paint Chevelle of Paul Paine.
A great effort was developing in the number 39 Gens Ryan car of Dan Ryan. He began the race in 12th position, but was powering his way up through traffic using the outer groove, and with 10 laps left, had moved up to 5th. The yellow came out on lap 15 as Chanhassen's Bill Larson spun his orange number 1 Cadillac in turn 3. Now, with the field squashed together for the restart, Moeller's gray car was riding right on Paine's bumper. The two pulled away from the field, and Moeller tried the outer lane. He did everything he could, but just couldn't reel in the leader.
The points battle is heating up between Dick Moeller and Steve Anderson, and this will make for very interesting racing the last half of the season. Paul Paine is standing by with Wally Shaver in Victory Lane.
Tremendous race in the Sportsman division this night, and what really impressed me was through the first half of the race, 8 cars were just door to door. What were you thinking at that point?
Oh, everybody was running it was real clean, and they were side by side, and I was just waiting for a hole to open up, and heck, I didn't even know if it was going to be able to be open, but it did, and we were able to win.
Well, finally it did because of a restart. You were in 3rd place at the time, but Jeff Partington spun out. You took the Frost paint car high up on the outside, and that seemed to be the gap that you're looking for.
Yeah, Jeff Partington was running on the outside there, and he got a little bit hard on the throttle or something. He spun out and left the opening wide open for me to go into the lead, and then they had another spin out, and then we lined up again, and then Dick Moeller was on behind me. And
what did you think at that point with Moeller chasing you down?
Oh, he did that about 2 weeks ago too, I think, or when I won one. I just wanted to run my groove and don't heat my tires up, and he's a hard charger.
might have had a little bit of help with the wind tonight too, but Paul Paine, the winner in the Sportsman division.
We've got Thunder Cars, Bombers, and
Saturday night, and in the FINA Thunder Car division, number 25, Kel Tenike, was about to find out. A daring move from the drop of